Hello and welcome to my channel. It's Monday, which means it's True Crime and Makeup Monday. So we're just gonna hop right in. Trigger warning: discussions of murder. Giulia Tofana was an Italian professional poisoner. She sold a poison called Aqua Tofana, supposedly invented by Tofana Diadamo, who may have been Giulia's mother, to women who wanted to murder their husbands. Information about Giulia Tofana's background is sparse. She was thought to have been born in Palermo. Speculation by historians that she may have taken the first name of her mother as her last name, a common practice at the time, led them to believe that she was the daughter of another Palermo poisoner, Tofina di Adamo. Tofina di Adamo was accused of poisoning with an arsenic concoction of her own invention, Aqua Tofana, and executed on July 12th, 1633. She did not care. She really did not care. According to one version of events, Giulia Tofana fled to Rome and set up a poisoning ring that began to sell his poison to women who wanted to escape abusive or inconvenient spouses. There may have been 6 women in this poisoning ring active in the 1650s, including Girolamo Spara, who took over after Giulia's death. Tofana's involvement in all of this is not confirmed. The only recorded evidence of poisoning activities being the executions of Tofana Diadamo in 1633 and Girolamo Sparo in 1659, who claimed to be the daughter of Giulia Tofana. Historians point to Giulia Tofana dying in her sleep in 1651, with no one aware of her poisoning activities. Confusion of her activities with other poisoners active in the area have led to tales that she died in 1659 or 1709 or 1730, with further elaboration that she took sanctuary in a convent and continued to manufacture and distribute poison for many years until she was found out, executed, and her body thrown over the wall of the church that had provided her with sanctuary. Aqua Tofana was a strong poison created in Sicily around 1630 that was reputedly widely used in Palermo, Naples, Perugia, and Rome, Italy. It has been associated with Giulia Tofana, or Tofina, a woman from Palermo, purportedly the leader of a ring of 6 poisoners in Europe who sold Aqua Tofana to would-be widows. I did my makeup all kinds of wrong today. That's fine. The first recorded mention of Aqua Tofana is from 1632 to 33, when it was used by 2 women, Francesca Lasarda and Tofana Diadamo, to poison their victims. It may have been invented by and named after Teofania. She was executed for her crimes, but several women associated with her, including Giulia Tofana, who may have been her daughter, and Geronima Spagna, moved on to Rome and continued manufacturing and distributing the poison. I mean, do what you gotta do, I guess. Like, it's intense to me. Like, they were just like, murder has long since been a motive to end marriages. And, like, it's insane to me to think that this has been going on for, like, centuries. But I mean, I guess back then you didn't really have divorce as an option. So, I don't know. You gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. Um, Not that I am um, condoning murder or anything. The trade name Mana di San Nicola, Mana of St. Nicholas of Bari, may have been a marketing device intended to divert the authorities, given that the poison was openly sold both as a cosmetic and a devotionary object in vials and included a picture of St. Nicholas. We're going to sell poison, but we're going to put a saint on it so that, the cops don't catch on. Over 600 victims are alleged to have died from this poison, mostly husbands. They probably deserved it. I'm kidding. Don't poison your husbands. It's just not a good idea. Hobby. Between 1666 and 1676, the Marchioness de Brinvillers poisoned her father and two brothers, amongst others, and was executed on July 16th, 1676. The active ingredients of the mixture are basically known, but not how they were blended. Aqua Tofana contained mostly arsenic, t- most ugh, contained mostly arsenic and lead, and possibly belladonna. It was a colorless, tasteless liquid, and therefore easily mixed with water or wine to be served during meals. Gross. Poisoning by aqua tofana could go unnoticed as the substance is clear and has no taste. It is slow acting, with symptoms resembling those of a progressive disease or other natural causes. The symptoms seen are similar to the effects of arsenic poisoning. Several symptoms were reported by those poisoned by aqua tofana. The first small dosage would produce cold like symptoms. The victim was very ill by the third dose. Symptoms included vomiting, dehydration, diarrhea, and a burning sensation in the digestive system. Sounds horrid. As somebody who has stomach issues, like, I could just, oh, I mean, like, but if it made you go and you had stomach issues, would you really hate it? Or, like, would you be grateful? The fourth dose would ultimately kill the victim. As it was slow acting, it allowed victims time to prepare for their death, including writing a will and repenting. The antidote often given was vinegar and lemon juice. The legend that Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was poisoned using aqua tofana is completely unsubstantiated, even though it was Mozart himself who started this rumor. Geronima Spana was an Italian poisoner and astrologer. She was the central figure of the infamous Spana prosecution against a net of poison merchant women in Rome, who distributed the famous poison aqua tofana to clients who wished to commit murder, in particular women who wished to become widows. She was executed alongside four women accomplices for having distributed poison to clients with the intent of murder. Well, obviously, you're not going to give somebody poison to do anything else. Um, she has also been called Girolama Spara, Girolama Spala, La Astrologa, La Profetessa, and La Indovina. But Geronima Spania was the spelling she herself used in court documents. Geronima Spagna was born in Sicily as the daughter of the wealthy Nicola Spagna, who was provisioning Spanish galleys and overseeing expenditures of Palermo's Ospedale degli Spagnol. I'm sorry, I'm sure I butchered that, so you have my sincerest apologies. She became the stepdaughter of Julia Mangardi, traditionally known in history as Julia Tofana, recognized as the inventor of the poison Aqua Tofana, which she allegedly sold commercially in Palermo. The poison is claimed to have been named after her alleged mother, Stefania Diadamo, but there is nothing to indicate that Diamo was the mother of Julia. After Geronima's father died, her stepmother remarried in 1624 to the well off real estate investor Cesare Ronchetti. He didn't have a very long life. Just saying. In 1624, the family fled to her maternal uncle in Rome, the cleric and astrologer Andrea Lorestino. Her stepfather, Cesare Ronchetti, was described as a spendthrift who ruined the family's economy. Geronima Spagna had to marry in 1629 at the age of 14, and her stepmother became a professional marriage maker, but also unofficially, allegedly resumed her business as a poison distributor in Rome. Can't give up that business, can we? The family is known to have established on the Via della Longaria in Rome in 1643. Spagna was married to Nicola Chiazzi, a Florentine grain speculator who is described as an adulterous spendthrift, but he is not listed as living with her after 1640, and he is known to have left Rome in 1655 to escape his creditors. Geronima Spagna officially established herself as a professional astrologer and a distributor of herbal medicine. However, she was also instructed by her stepmother in how to manufacture and sell the Aqua Tofana poison. Together, the two women trafficked deadly poison and specialized in selling poison to women married to abusive husbands. Julia Manigardi was later described by contemporaries who met her in Rome as a nasty, ugly woman and unpleasant and raggedy. But Geronima had a very good relationship with her stepmother, whom she described as una brava donna, a good woman. Historians point to her stepmother dying in her sleep in 1651 with no one aware of her poisoning activities. But after her death, January 17th, 1651, Geronima Spagna took over her business. She developed it into a considerable enterprise with several poison saleswomen active in the business in the 1650s. Geronima Spagna was an astrologer of note in Rome, where she was engaged to predict the future and find missing objects by clients in the Roman aristocracy. It is noted that she behaved and dressed in a manner which made her acceptable in the salons of the aristocracy, and it is mentioned how her rich clients sent for her in their carriage, and that she often traveled around Rome in carriages borrowed from her aristocratic friends or aristocratic. Everybody says it differently. The poison business was exposed to the papal authorities with the arrest of one of Spania's poison sellers, Giovanna de Grande, who was arrested in flagrante January 31st, 1659, and imprisoned at the Tor di Nonna, where she named Geronima Spagna during the interrogations. On February 2nd, Geronima Spagna was arrested and taken to the papal prison of Tor di Nonna, where she was interrogated by the lieutenant governor Stefano Baracci. Geronima Spagna was described as intelligent, self-assured, and confident. She denied all accusations and stood by her denial for months, despite repeated interrogations and confrontations with her former associates and clients. She was willing to answer questions and talked a lot. She was willing to answer questions and talked a lot, but only provided harmless information, such as long, detailed answers of acquaintances, their family history and residence, but never anything which could be seen as incriminating. She was described as much more resilient than her fellow prisoners. In contrast to them, she did not even talk about her guilt to her confessions to a priest. Her lack of confession was a problem, since law did not permit execution without it. She did not confess until June 20th. She finally signed a long statement of guilt in regard to the poison. She stated, "I've given this liquid to more people than I've got hairs on my head." The investigation, the Spagna prosecution, continued for several months until March of 1660, involving about 40 people accused of having sold or used the poison, with Geronima Spagna and 4 of her female business associates, Giovanna de Grandes, Maria Spinola, Graziosa, Farina, and Laura Crispaldi, executed at the Campo de Fiore in Rome on July 5th, 1659. Geronima Spagna and the Spagna prosecution became the subject of sensationalist myths, and she has been confused with her stepmother, Giulia Tofana. I'm just going to say, they got wild in the 1600s. Like, they was all about it. You know, like, they did not care. She did not get away with it. But I mean, if you think about it, Giulia Tofana got away with it. Because they said that, you know, when she died, no one was aware of the fact that she had been poisoning people. And that's like intense, man. That's intense. Like, no one was any the wiser to what she was doing. Nobody had any idea that she was poisoning men or anything else. Like, no one knew what was happening. Guess if you're gonna commit murder, it's the best way to do it, huh? Not get caught, which is like insane to me, but like I said, that's the way to do it. Don't get caught. Anyway, that was today's story on Julia Tofana and Aqua Tofana. I hope you enjoyed the segment. As always, please make good choices. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, and be carefully kind to others. Have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.